Hello guys, my name is 𝕬𝕝𝕚𝕚𝕚 absent 5 from the class 11F3. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you guys about the story about the Pinocchio. So once upon a time, in a small village, a craftsman named Geppetto wanted to craft some good dolls, and then he searched for a good wood in the forest, but he couldn't find one. So after hours of searching in the wood, he finally found the the piece of a pine wood, and then he washed it, and then he started to carving it and make it a beautiful boy doll. And then as he cleaned the doll, he suddenly heard a strange voice that came from the doll. Then the craftsman named the doll Pinocchio. As the time passed, the bonding beyond the craftsman and Pinocchio start growing up, and they love each other. They enjoying each time that they do together, and they really felt love as a family between them. So one day, Pinocchio wanted to go to the school, but Geppetto, the toy maker, did not have enough money. So he decided to sell his coat for some money. Then he gave Pinocchio some money to buy some stationery to go to the school. And then he gave the Pinocchio the money and warned him to not wander around. So the next day, Pinocchio started to go to the school, but in the walk time, he saw a circus. And he went to the circus because he was curious. But in the circus, as soon as he realized he was trapped in a cell, then he started crying and sobbing. But then a fairy appeared. A fairy suddenly helped him and make Pinocchio free from the cell using her spell, and warned Pinocchio to not make the same mistake. And the next day, he went to the school again, but in this way, he across the forest, and in the forest, he met the fox and the cat. And the fox and the cat saw the Pinocchio that he carrying a lot of money, so they decided to stop him. And after they stopped him, they asked Pinocchio, where did you wanna where are you heading to with that a lot of money? They said. And Pinocchio replies, oh, I wanna buy some school supplies for my school. It's the money from my dad, as he said. And then the fox said that if Pinocchio give him the money, that the money grows bigger, a larger amount in the magical forest, Fox said. Then Pinocchio was accepted it and gave him the money just away like that. And after hours passing, Pinocchio was losing his money. It was being stolen by the cat and the fox. He was crying again, sobbing so hard that the fairy appeared again and asked him what happened to the money. Then Pinocchio, instead of telling her the truth, he was like lying and made some excuse and as he continues lying, his nose grows longer and longer. And that time, the fairy knew Pinocchio was lying. And then the fairy asks, "Are you telling the truth?" And Pinocchio, "Sorry, I was afraid of being that you would not trust me." And then with a good heart, the fairy apologized him and helped him and gave the money back to Pinocchio. The next day again, he went to the same to the school as the first day, and he went to the circus again. But this time he met the circus owner. The circus owner seemed so furious to Pinocchio. So he was so furious that he ran and catch him up and throw him to the water as a punishment. And a few days passed, and the toy maker Geppetto was so worried about the Pinocchio whereabouts. And then he go to the school, the circus, and he met someone that said a wooden puppet or wooden doll had been thrown to the wait I'm sorry, the furious circus owner was throw the Pinocchio to the sea. And then a few days passed, and the toy maker was worried about the Pinocchio whereabouts. And then he heard someone say that the wooden doll had been thrown to the sea. And then as soon as he heard that, the toy maker was jumped and went to the sea and jumped to the sea, and he was swallowed too. He was swallowed by the whale, just like Pinocchio. So they were met in whale's stomach, and they were crying because they know they'll die and cannot go to the surface again. They're crying and sobbing so hard that finally the fairy appeared again for the third time. And Pinocchio said to the toy maker that he promised that he would be a wise boy and a good boy that listened to the toy maker. And then the fairy was accepted it and freed them from the whale, and then they go back to the surface. And the fairy was accepted the Pinocchio's apologize, and granted his wish, which is Pinocchio wanted to be a human boy, and he granted it. But as a punishment, if Pinocchio ever lies, any tiny lies, his nose would grows longer and longer. I think that's all from me. Thank you very much.